FPL is back. Game week 5 deadline stream. I have to apologise if the stream gets a little bit laggy. My laptop sounds like it's working really hard. I don't know what's happened to it, but it seems to have lost some computing power over the last couple of weeks. So the fans are going absolutely mental. So hopefully we survive the course. Yeah, game week 5, FPL. International break is over. Don't think we've had any breaking news really over the break, other than maybe Trent being injured or still being out. So yeah, I've got to struggle with my team basically. I've got 2 free transfers in a team that I'm largely happy with. I can't really work out what I want to do with it. So I'm hoping maybe people in the chat can give me some ideas, to be honest. And likewise, I can give you some ideas with your team basically. Going to go through the usual score. I've got my score predictions for the week, top players for expected points by position, clean sheet odds, and then of course we'll stay up to date on the latest news and my team and the transfers that I end up making. Feel free, by the way, if you're in the chat, to say hello. Izana, yo mate, good to see you in the chat. I've done some score predictions basically for the week. So first kickoff is Wolves against Liverpool. I'm thinking this is going to be quite a close affair. Wolves at home are pretty strong defensively. Spaghetti and Beans, I've got the same issue. I'm going to keep him and I'm going to start him because if you look at the defensive injuries that Arsenal have got and the fact that Partey, who was playing at right back, is injured too, I think Ben White's going to go to right back. It's going to be Saliba and Gabriel and Zinchenko. So for me, I've kept Gabriel all this time, as it sounds like you have. Everton away, they've got really good clean sheet odds, as we'll see later on. I'm going to hold on to Gabriel. But yeah, going back to the Wolves and Liverpool game, I think it's going to be a tight affair, but Liverpool just edge it. Villa and Palace, I think Palace are going to show up in that one, and it's going to be a sort of score draw 1-1 I've gone for. Fulham, I think, just have the edge against Luton. Luton look there's 3 pretty terrible teams in the league at the moment. Luton, Sheffield United and Everton. I think Fulham are just going to have a bit too much for Luton. Man United and Brighton. I don't think Man United have won a game against Brighton at Old Trafford for quite a while. And I don't really see that changing. I think both teams will score, probably ends in a draw. I've gone 2-2. Spurs and Sheffield United. I think Spurs are going to blow them away, to be honest. I think they'll probably win that game 4-0. West Ham and Man City. I've been really impressed with West Ham so far this season. They've played really well at home, and they tend to, their sort of play style matches up quite well against the strong teams. Whilst I think Man City are going to win that game, I don't think they're going to blow them away by any stretch. I think they'll probably just score the single goal and win 1-0. Newcastle and Brentford. I reckon that game's going to end up 2-2, something like that. I know Newcastle have not been looking that great, but they've had some really tough fixtures to start the season, so I wouldn't let that put me off too much. However, Brentford have also looked really good going forwards, particularly obviously in Bumo and Wissa, making a really good partnership in Tony's absence. So I think that game is going to end 2-2. Bournemouth and Chelsea. I think Chelsea are just going to edge it. It'll be a close affair. I've gone 2-1 in that. Arsenal and Everton. I know I've heard Arsenal do not have a great record at Goodison Park, but I just don't see any way that Everton do well against them. They look absolutely terrible. And as I said, the Arsenal back four, I think Arteta's going to be forced basically to play the back four that he played last season, which was one of the strongest defences in the league. So I got a feeling they win that 3-0. Forest and Burnley. It's going to be a relatively close game. Forest probably win it, but I do think Burnley are going to score. I've got Turner and Onana as both of my goalkeepers at the moment, which is a bit of a problem. But yeah, I reckon 3-2 as my score prediction for that one. So then, the top players for expected points by position. So the top 2 goalkeepers are Vicario and Leno, and I think, to be honest, those expected points reflect the quality of fixtures that they've got. So yeah, 2 of the worst teams in the league, and those are 2 of the highest scoring goalkeepers, so it makes sense they're top for expected points. Alisson, Martinez, Ederson, Ramsdale, Pope, Sanchez, Turner and Onana round out that list. In terms of the defenders, Udogie tops the list. First time I've seen him anywhere near the top for expected points, but it makes sense. He's done really well of recent. I hadn't even heard of him before the start of this season, so the fact that 5 game weeks into a season where he wasn't even in the Tottenham team last season is, he's a top player for expected points across defenders is brilliant. Trent is obviously injured, so discount him from this list. Chilwell, Pedro Porro, Romero, Van de Ven, Gusto, Trippier, Cash and Disasi. So basically, this top list is full of Spurs defenders, Chelsea defenders, and Trippier and Cash. Then just looking at the midfielders, Son tops the list on those. Maddison in second, Salah, Saka, Sterling, Odegaard, Foden, Rashford, Martinelli and Luis Diaz. Interestingly, before we actually get to the graphic, I'm going to give it away. Son, according to Draft Hound, is the top player for expected points for the entire game week. So that's quite an interesting thing. I don't have him. Don't think I'm going to be bringing him in. Yeah, I just don't think I can do it. I do have Maddison, though. I'm quite happy to have him as my vice-captain. And moving on to the forwards. Obviously, Erling Haaland tops the list. 8.2 expected points, followed by Alvarez, Isak, Darwin Núñez, Jackson, Watkins, Awuni, Ferguson, who is flagged, Solanke and Jesus. So the big decision, of course, this week is the captaincy. Now, as I said, Son actually edges it in terms of expected points. So he's on 8.3, Haaland's on 8.2, Maddison's on 7.4, so relatively close between those three. Haaland doesn't seem to do that well away from home in general, particularly against the top sides. However, away at West Ham last season, he scored a brace. So I don't have Son. Don't really have a plan to bring Son in because whilst he has Sheffield United at home this week, his next two fixtures are Arsenal and Liverpool. Two games where, you could foresee him struggling to score in. Whereas Haaland, West Ham away, he's just such a solid option, isn't he? So I'm going Haaland. Maddison, Salah, Udogie and Saka are the other top players. I mean, up to you, obviously, who you captain yourself, but hopefully these expected points figures give you an idea. Interestingly, they've got Haaland listed at 14.1 million. He is 14.1 million. Is that really true? Wow. How much did he start at this season? Has he gone up loads already? That's mental. Pickford, Turner, Udogie, Pinnock, Chilwell, Estupinian, Baldock, Rashford, Bruno, Saka, Mitoma, and Mbeumo, Watkins, Jackson, Haaland. 2 free transfers. Yeah, Pinnock to Botman makes sense, mate. Although Botman, a bit iffy as to whether he plays, but I guess you've got a strong enough bench there to cover for him. I personally would get rid of Pickford this week, though, if I could. I think. But you got nothing in the bank, so it does make it quite tough, doesn't it? Yeah, Pinnock to Botman, I think, makes sense for your team, mate. Or you could do you have a 4.5 million forward? Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Cannon fodder, you should probably just keep him. Captain in Awuni, I really like Awuni, but I don't think he is a captaincy option. The reason I say that is I think he's going to do well across the season, don't get me wrong. But he's not... I just don't feel he's an explosive enough player that you'd want to hedge against Haaland with. I think the guys to hedge against Haaland with this week are the Spurs midfielders. That would be my thinking. Because if it goes wrong for you, the backfire is going to be huge. So yeah, I just don't think you can captain Awuni, in my opinion. I think one of the Spurs midfielders is a genuine alternative to Haaland, as you can see with these expected points, but I just don't think you can do Awuni as captain, as much as I like him. Final thing to show was just the clean sheet odds. So we've got quite a few teams above 30% for a clean sheet. Usually I make a rule. If a team has above 30% clean sheet odds, you could probably consider starting their defenders. So Tottenham, Fulham, Newcastle, Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City, Villa, Chelsea and Forest all have above 30% clean sheet odds. And the rest of the teams you can see there a bit lower. Ben, good to have you in the chat. I had a lovely holiday, thank you. I've had such a busy week of work and sport and all sorts. So yeah, I can't say I feel particularly recovered at the moment, but I had a lovely break. It was nice not to think about work or football or anything for a week, especially after all the pre-season stuff. So thank you. I had a lovely time. Hope you're all good. Mitoma and Watkins to Archer and Son. I know it sounds good, but Son again has Arsenal and Liverpool up next. I would definitely start Saliba, Luke. So cannon fodder, I think I'd just do the move you're planning. Pinnock to Botman makes sense to me. You don't even have to start Botman, but I think, with the run that Newcastle are about to go on, if we just have a look. So if I look to transfer in Botman, which is a move, of course, I could make. I would start Estupinian and Ben, personally, out of the two of them. So yeah, Newcastle about to go on a ridiculous fixture run. So I do like Botman as an option. Should I think of getting Son after the 2 bad games? Well, it's a really tough one for me with Son. I just think getting him now is a little bit risky. Like, obviously, yes, prime fixture, Sheffield United at home, but it really is for 1 week. Like, it's just a 1 week thing, and then, you know, you're going to be hesitant to own him, like Arsenal away, Liverpool at home. Then obviously the fixtures after that are great. So another thing I would say about Son doesn't apply to Maddison, but the one thing that does apply to Son is that his fantastic returns that he's going to get across the season, I think, are only going to come when he's playing in the number 9 position. So, you know, I imagine he will play in that position against Sheffield United, but does he continue to play number 9 for that entire duration, or does Postecoglou give Richarlison another chance? I just don't know. I reckon Cannon Fodder, they score relatively similar points where there's no real benefit in swapping them. Like, look at the fixtures that Rashford has got. Brighton at home. Yes, Brighton is a tough fixture, but they have not kept a clean sheet at all this season. Then they've got Burnley away, then Palace at home. That's the 3 fixtures, whereas Son has Sheffield United at home, Arsenal, Liverpool. Like, I would anticipate Rashford could even outscore Son over the next 3 weeks. Obviously, this week, yes, Son has a better fixture, but over the next 3, I just think, you know, Rashford could at least match him for sure. I just don't think it's worth that transfer. And exactly, Luke, Richarlison might well start later. Completely agree with you, Ben. I don't think he comes off early. I think he'll play 90 minutes, but whoever's playing on the left wing will be sacrificed for someone like Richarlison. Then Son will move on to the left and Richarlison will go up front. That's how I see it happening. Watkins and Matoma to Alvarez and Maddison. You're getting there with those moves, I think, mate. I definitely like James Maddison as an option because I think regardless of the opposition, he's going to be decent. Thing is with Watkins as well, like, I am really hesitant to sell him because whilst he hasn't lit the world up, look at those fixtures. That's the run he's about to go on. Yes, Chelsea away is probably a tough one. They're not been that good. Brighton at home, we spoke about them when I talked about Rashford. Yes, they've been decent going forward, but they've conceded in every game, and then they've got 5 green fixtures after that point. Rashford to Son or Bulldog to Botman? Bulldog to Botman, 100%, mate. I think you might have missed the chat I had FPL camp, but I genuinely think Rashford and Son will score similarly. Yeah, I'd say so, Ben. The only thing is there are so many more options in midfield. So, yes, Diaby's fantastic, but like the midfield that I've got at the moment, I don't think I can justify going for Diaby over any of these players. Whereas, obviously, Watkins slots right in up front. Yeah, I just can't. I agree with you on Diaby, but I think that there's so many players for the midfield spots that you just can't justify it. I'm really stuck as well. Look, I've got 2 free transfers, 0.3 in the bank, and I just can't see a way to improve my team. Like, maybe I could literally do Mubama to Archer. That's about it. Oh, sorry, Ben. Yeah. There's just so many options in midfield. I don't think he's quite good enough to make it. By the way, I got given so my girlfriend's brother went to Nepal last year and he brought a mug home and it was at her house for a little while. No one ever used it and asked if I wanted it. Pretty cool. It's got a Gurkha knife on it. It says, better to die than live a coward. Personally, FPL can. I think it is. Maybe Rashford. Maybe Salah is missing if you discount all the money. But I mean, honestly, I just don't see a better midfield than what I currently have. Yeah, I can't afford. I would do Onana to Pope, but because I've got 0.3 in the bank, I can't afford it, and there's no easy way to get the money to make that move, if that makes sense. Clean sheets this week. Let's have a look. Where's your odds? There's your odds. The one thing that would be useful is if we got some Reece James news. There's your clean sheet odds, by the way. Thing is with Gusto, I'm just not sure he's going to play this week. What do people in the chat think? Do people in the chat think James is going to play, or do you think that Gusto will play again? I think James is going to be back fit, personally. Cannon fodder, I just like doing Pinnock to Botman, personally. Onana, yeah, I don't mind that spaghetti and beans, but then Onana after Brighton, he's got some good fixtures. You know, you're selling him this week, which is fine. And then he's got Burnley away, Crystal Palace at home straight after that. So, yes, for 1 week it might be worth doing. But, I don't know, it feels a bit luxury to me. I think I'm just going to do Mubama to Archer. Oh, is that really true, Ben? I didn't realise that. Let's have a look, see if we've got a Reece James update. I didn't know. If you know more than me, Ben, then I'm happy to hear it. Let's do a search on him. Just looking on Twitter now. I would start Saliba. All right. Confirm they're not available against Bournemouth. All right. It can be available before the next international break. Interesting. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Ben. My bad. So yeah, I'm personally then even more happy with my team than I was before. Next week, definitely Cam. Eddie Howe said in his press conference that he's probably fit this weekend and has been in training. I think he literally used the word probably able to play. I would start Guardiola. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, Ben. That's fantastic. Just so much. I've got the problem with my team. It's obviously a luxury issue, but I don't have that many fires to put out. It just feels weird. Every year season previously, I've used a transfer every week because I've had an issue to sort out. But this year, I really feel like I don't. Sorry, Jintao, missed your team. Turner, Chilwell, Saliba, Udoji, Rashford, Saka, Bruno Sterling, and Bumo, Jackson, Haaland, Pickford, Archer. Oh, mate, that team is lovely. I would not do anything. Yeah, definitely roll. Definitely roll. I feel like any transfer you make, you could actually end up with less points as a result. Yeah, completely agree, Ben. Yeah. No, I don't feel like there's a whole lot to talk about, does there? But I'm happy to hear your questions. I guess the only big one is, like you say, the captaincy. Raj, well, let's have a look at my team at the moment. I'm going to go on the pick team mode. I've got a coffee because it's 8:50 in the morning in the UK. I only usually have one a day. Big ups FPL Tom. Yes, I'm not going to do a subscriber beggy thing, but I'll do it once. So I'm currently on 1,985 subscribers, obviously very close to 2,000. So if you haven't already, I'd really appreciate if you could subscribe. If you're enjoying the stream, to get me to 2k, thank you, Tom. I'm not bringing Son in, Dylan, quite simply. Ben, I'll have a look in a second because they never had it previously when I've done a stream. They haven't had the option where I could search for someone's team and pull it up. We'll see if that's changed, but they sort of removed that option for this year, unfortunately. But it was really useful, wasn't it? Raj, to answer your question, mate, this is my team at the moment. I just don't see a way that I can improve that starting 11. Like, unless anyone's got a big idea for me, I just don't see a way that it can be improved. My thinking, rather than burn a transfer, I could probably do Mubama to Archer and just be done with that. Because, yeah, honestly, I just don't see another way. I've got 2 frees. I just don't see another way I can improve my team. And Ben's suggesting Gabriel to Shah. Totally understand that. But for this week alone, with, Arsenal playing Everton, and the clean sheet odds, according to Drafthound anyway, being, like, so close to one another. Personally, in my mind as well, Newcastle keeping a clean sheet to Brentford, or Arsenal keeping a clean sheet against Everton, I think Arsenal could keep the clean sheet. Whereas Bournemouth look all right. I think they could do quite well against Chelsea and score. So I'm just prefer starting Gabriel, and then I can maybe do something next week. That's my plan. Probably just do a boring one, Mubama to Archer, something like that. I prefer Højlund and Saka. Yeah, I think I'll be going for Archer, Ben. Absolutely. I think it just makes sense. And I've got 3 playing players on my bench because Mubama's, well, he's dropped to 4.4, which is a bit annoying. But I've got enough in the bank. Archer's proven he's the only 4.5 I think that's going to play. I could do Turner to Areola, but Areola's got Man City at home and Turner's got Burnley at home. I can actually start Turner this week. Maybe could do that move next week, but for me, I'm so happy with this team at the moment. And then I'll probably bench Udogie next week. Obviously, when he's got Arsenal, bring someone who's Estupinian got next week. So he got another tough one. He's got Bournemouth at home, so you can start him again. Yeah, that's just going to be the pain with Archer, isn't it? It's just nice to have bench options, basically. Start Mitoma or Estupinian. Let's see who's got the highest expected points, shall we? I don't mind Morris, but just not for me. Maybe for the double game week, you could do a 1 week punt on him, but right now, no. I guess the one thing you could do is bring in, if you have transfers in hand, game week 7, they've got their double, isn't it? You could feasibly bring in some Luton players for game week 7 for their double. Morris is going to score a minimum 4 points, you'd imagine, if he starts both games, even if he doesn't score. You could bring in your Luton players before then, and then wildcard them out game week 8. That could be an option, but I'm just not that interested in Morris, to be honest. He does look quite dangerous, but it's Luton. They're not looking great. Create comparison. We were going to do Estupinian. And Mitoma. Comparison. There's your comparison. Oh no, spaghetti and bees. It is stressful, isn't it? There's your next game week. So Estupinian 3.8 expected points. Mitoma 5.1. Hopefully that's your answer, mate. I'd probably go Mitoma based on that. Start Mitoma or Mbumo. I'd always go for Mbumo over Mitoma week on week. It really doesn't matter on the fixtures because Mbumo has always got the Brentford penalties, and I just feel like penalty takers in FPL and fantasy in general are so key because they can score in any game. Doesn't matter the opposition. So I think Mbumo's better. I'd always favour Mbumo. Let's see. I didn't even check. Let's see if I can search for teams on DraftHound. No, we can do this on the fly. Work it out. Ooh. Okay, that didn't work. Don't press this back button, apparently. Right, so... Oh, so I can, there we go. I can find someone's FPL team. So if someone sends me, or Ben, you can go first if you like, mate. If someone wants their team reviewed on the fly, if you let me know your FPL ID or your FPL team name, I should be able to find it, load it up in DraftHound and tell you or suggest some transfers to you. So if anyone wants to do that, go for it. And obviously, I do have a membership feature on my channel, so none of the members are in at the moment, but I will always have to prioritise members for the squad reviews because that's part of the benefits they get. Sorry, Ben, I did say you first, but a couple of people got in there. I'll be quick. So that looks to be your team. 12419. I'd just start Turner over Pickford, really. I'd probably play Watkins over Mitoma as well. And yeah, the Pinnock to Botman transfer makes sense. I think that team looks absolutely lovely. And then you could well start Botman over Estupinian as well. That's probably what you're planning to do. But yeah, I mean, I think that team's lovely, mate. What else do we got? 58224. On it, Cam. Ooh, very similar to me. Pretty much the same team as me. I'd start Saliba over Estupinian, Turner over Onana, and then leave it like that. I think that team looks absolutely lovely. Do you have... How many transfers do you have? Let's have to look, see if we can get it in the team. It doesn't have to just be ID, Ashton. You can send me your team name and it should... So if I look for mine... Yeah, there's me there, look. Custard Cream FC. 2 free transfers, so you have to use a transfer. Let's go back to your team a sec. Just send me your team name and I can find it. Who was I looking at? Cams. But with 2 free transfers, 1.3 million in the bank. Genuinely, if you're in that position, I would probably do Onana to Nick Pope. It's Onana to Nick Pope, or the move that I'm making, Mubama to Archer. Other than that, mate, there's not really much you can do. I just think that looks lovely. Maybe you'd want to keep Onana in so you can afford to do Jackson to Watkins as well. So Mubama to Archer, much similar to what I'm doing, might be your move, to be honest, mate. Hopefully that helps you there, Cam. That's genuinely the most boring suggestion I've ever had, but I think it makes sense for your team. Right, Jim is up next. 874 5892. It's all right, Cam. Hopefully that helped. Sorry it was a bit boring, but sometimes boring is the best. Who am I looking at? Jim's team. Well, mate, I mean, that looks lovely. Other than starting Foden over Wissa, probably all I'd do there. Go 3-5-2. Estupinian over Henry, I think makes sense. Other than that, mate, that is a lovely team. Like, there's nothing I would change about it. I would captain Haaland over Maddison as well, personally. But other than that, lovely. Who else we got? Spaghetti and Beans, 6216. He's done that. Well done, Jim. Yeah, what it will do, mate, just because it's the only reference that DraftHound has, it will look at your team as it was set at the deadline last week. So the benching decisions, etc., that'll just be as the deadline it was last week. So if you've done that already, I just don't think there's anything you can do with that team. It's lovely. Who am I looking at now? I think this is Spaghetti and Beans. I think I'd do what I'm doing, to be honest, mate. I'd start Gabriel over Gusto, Turner over Onana, and then we've got an identical team. I mean, there's nothing I would do to that. And you've got 2 free transfers as well. I think I'd make the same move as me. Osula to Archer. I think Archer, the money that Sheffield United have paid for him, he looks a really decent striker as well. I can imagine he's going to knock 10 goals in this season, even for a terrible team like United. So, yeah, Osula to Archer, and then I think that covers you personally. Then you've just got a whole squad of players that play, basically. Just going to blow my nose a sec, chap. Sorry again that it's really boring advice, but I mean, it's a really nice team. Who was after him? Dan Hilton. If you just send me your team name, I can search for it. 155591. I would look at Ben's team. It's called Andrew Tate. I would put Turner in over Pickford. I would put Botman just in, I think, over... I would actually start Estupinian over Botman, because the risk with Botman is he could come off the bench. If he's been injured before international break, Eddie Howe could choose not to start him and then bring him on after about 70 minutes. I'd probably go Estupinian because the expected points are so close. The rest of the team's lovely though. I mean, vice-captain Maddison would be the only thing I'd change. Other than that, mate, it looks absolutely fine. Then if you're stuck for a transfer like me, just do a 4.5 sort of swap. What have we got next? Okay, Sidemen Shorts, 10620. Big ups, Ben, no props. Would you start Turner over Johnston? Not sure. That's a really tough call, to be fair. I'll leave you to think of that one. I think I'd start Gabriel over Estupinian. And then the rest of the team, mate, is pretty nigh on perfect. Like, I'd just roll. I'd start Turner, maybe. Start Gabriel, maybe. And roll. That's all I'd do. We're going to look for Dan's team. Yep, Daction, I'm going to need a bit of info about your team, but of course I can. I think people have got this team name, eh? Very original. Watkins is brilliant, mate. I really like Watkins. I think he's being a victim of people selling him when I think he's a great option. Dan, looks like we've got really similar teams. Probably I'd keep the defense as it is because you just never know with a Kanji. Turner goes in over Onana. Other than that, mate, like there's nothing I would do to that team. It looks brilliant. Ashton, you don't necessarily need to send me your ID, mate. Just send me your team name. I can search for it and find you on there. I'm just going to see if we've got any news on Twitter. FC, is that your team name? There you go. Jim's sorted him out. Faction, unfortunately, I've forgotten your team name, mate. I will know it when you tell me, but I've forgotten it. It's one of those, you know. I'll know when I'm reminded. Ah, that's the one. Not so template FPL, good to have you in the chat. Say, mate, Bristol City are back playing today, 3 PM. Got West Brom at home. Really looking forward to it. Alexandru, good to have you in the chat, mate. Oh yeah, you had Mbumo as captain. Sorry about that. I did say, to be fair, to go for Haaland, I wouldn't do that. But Mbumo was, probably the second best. Maddison this week, fair enough. Fair enough. Do you think, though, Robbie, that I completely agree with your thoughts on Turner, by the way. Obviously, Turner's either not going to start, not going to play at all, so I think it's safe to start him. However, do you think... Yeah, sidemen short side, that's what I was trying to say with my point. But do you think Turner will play this game? Because the way I see it, when a team signs a new goalkeeper, the only real way that a manager can do it, especially when the old keeper has played well, which, I don't really think Turner's been bad. The only way that sort of works itself out is if Turner has a bad game, then the new goalkeeper just comes in. That's the only sort of way I can see that playing out. But Robbie, I'm happy to hear your thoughts as a Forest fan. This is Dakshin's team. Yeah, fair enough, Robbie. Appreciate those thoughts, though, mate. I think for me, Turner, as long as he can start this week, I'm fine, and then Onana can just play for remaining weeks for me. Jed Wallace. Oh, is that a West Brom player? Whose team am I looking at now? I've lost it. This is Dakshin's team. The question I would have is how many transfers and cash in the bank do you have? Because that would help me greatly. I think you need to get rid of João Pedro, personally, at this point. No, I don't think I would sidemen shorts, I don't think I would. The reason being, I've done a little Son in Rashford comparison. 0.61 free transfer. Okay. I'll talk about that in a second, Alexandru. I'll go through my team and talk about Son and Maddison in a sec. I just don't see a transfer in this team. I think the only way you can get rid of João Pedro for someone really, really good is to have 2 free transfers and swap 2 players out. Does anyone have any suggestions for this team? I'm just thinking. With 0.6 million, you can't really upgrade Pedro to anyone decent. Yeah, Jim. As long as he doesn't come off the bench, it'd be fine. Yeah, Pedro to Archer, but would you not want 2 frees to maybe sell someone else to upgrade Pedro? I don't know. Because I feel like you could potentially sell Salah and then upgrade Pedro. Bring in someone that could match sort of Salah's points, but it's really tough, that. Estupinian to Shah was the suggestion. Yeah, I don't mind that, to be fair. That's a decent move. Pedro to Morris, that could work. There's a couple shouts. Thank you, chat. Thank you, Ben, and Not So Template. Hopefully that helps you, mate. Who was I looking at then? Ashton. Quick look at my team then. I don't think there is a keeper transfer in that team, to be honest. I think you just wait until one of those keepers doesn't play. In terms of my transfer plans, Alexandru, I'm going to be so boring. I'm literally going to swap, I think, Mubama for Archer. If you look at this team, my rank, my points, I don't need to go different to chase or anything like that. I'm very happy with where I'm sat at the moment. Gabriel, I can't believe I've kept him, but I'm just going to leave him. I think he's going to play against Everton with the fact that Partey's injured. I think that's going to push Ben White to right back. Saliba, Gabriel are going to play in defence together. Zinchenko at left back. The old Arsenal defence that did really well last season. Everton away. They've actually got a really poor record at Goodison Park, but Everton look particularly terrible this game week. This season, sorry. So I'm happy to start Gabriel. My midfield, I don't think there's anything I'd change about that. I just don't know what I do to my team. I'm going to be really boring and do Mubama to Archer. Someone was looking, did they ask about Rashford and Son? Yeah, Simon Shorts was looking at would you have both Son and Madison? I'm not huge on Matt Son because this is obviously Madison's, but they have the same fixtures, so it counts. So yes, this week Spurs have got a great fixture, but if you're transferring in Son, you have to have him for Sheffield United at home, of course. It's one of the best fixtures you can ask for. But then he's got Arsenal away, Liverpool at home. They're not great. Then obviously Luton away, Fulham, that's a good run. But would you ideally want Son against Arsenal and Liverpool? Probably not. Another thing about Son is he's doing really well playing in the number 9 position. Oh, that wasn't his team. I'll have a look in a second, mate. Sorry, I'm not just trying to keep up with everything. I'll have a look in a second. Where was I? Yeah, I'm just not sure I'll go for Son because Richarlison could well play that number 9 position again, and most of Son's points I think are going to come when he's playing in the number 9. So yeah, I'd definitely have Maddison. I think Maddison is a sure bet across the season, really. He's just looks so important to that Spurs team. So I think he's a great option. Rest of them, Son, not too sure. Really sorry about that. I will have a look again. Did I get the ID wrong? One 4 5 9 0 1 9. Oh, his team is literally called FC. No wonder I struggle to find it. Oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. That is such a tough team, isn't it? I'd probably start Trippier over Estupinian and then literally leave it. I mean, this is basically a wildcard draft as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, Trippier over Estupinian, and that's about all I do, mate. Looks really, really good. And I'd go vice captain Sterling. I mean, that's lovely. Yeah, Robbie, that was the transfer I did last week, actually. I've only made... Can you see my transfers? There must be a way to see it, yeah. Transfer history. I've literally made 2 transfers this season. I did Bulldog to Gusto a couple of weeks ago, and then Martinelli to Maddison last week. And that's the 2 transfers that I've made all season. So yes, I'd definitely consider that. The only thing... Just looking at fixtures... So Martinelli has obviously Everton, Spurs, Bournemouth. Son has Sheffield United, Arsenal, Liverpool. So it's just whether those 3 fixtures, yeah, it's how you think the fixtures stack up. And I guess with Martinelli, I don't think he's been that good this season. And obviously he's got Trossard waiting in the wings, who is fantastic whenever he comes on. So, like, obviously he's a bigger minutes risk than Son is. I think it's... Oh, sorry, a bigger minutes risk, than Maddison is. Vignesh, I would roll. 100% roll. It's not worth it with Son having Arsenal and Liverpool. Robbie, I think it's 50-50, basically. I really do. I'm going to do a stick or twist coin flip on Google. Right, without looking. Heads is you stick with Martinelli. Tails is that you switch, right? We'll see what the coin flip says. I'm not going to say anything on that. The coin has been flipped. Oh. See if there's any news. Nah, I don't think I would, Alexandru. I don't think I would. I think the fact, and Ben, I think, raised a really good point. The fact that we've had an international break with a lot more time to think, and the fact that Son is like the best performing player of last game week, and we've had 2 weeks of him being the best performing player, I think that's putting him up in everyone's estimations. Unless I was really, really unhappy with someone, then I'd make a transfer. But if I had Maddison or Foden in my team, I'd be happy. No FPL money leagues, mate. I definitely care more about my rank in fan team than I do FPL. But to be honest, my teams are largely similar in both games, so it doesn't really make much difference to me. What I am going to do, let's just have a look at the clean sheet odds a sec. I'll pull up my fan team and show you how I'm doing and what my team's looking like, because you're interested in that. By the way, I don't think I've put it in the on my water bottle. Might not be the right place, but I went to a can't really say much detail about it, but I went to an event this week at work. It's upside down. That's a good start, isn't it? And there were lots of stands of companies, and I got this little key ring that says from a company that makes satellites, and it said "remove before orbit" on it, which I thought was quite cool. Is Drafthound free? So there's a couple of versions of Drafthound. There is a free feature you can just use straight off the bat. I have the premium feature, which I think shows you expected point stats, clean sheet odds, and an assistant manager feature for the future game weeks. I think if you have just the free version, you can just see this game week's expected points. Not sure about Salah captain, mate. Not sure about that. I did make a video talking about Son, but there was no way that you could make a FPL video this week without talking about him, I don't think. Like, he was obviously such a hot topic. So yeah, here's how I'm doing. I've got identical teams in both games. So in the £10 buying game, I'm ranked sort of top 10%. And then in a £2 single entry game, I'm 500th. This is my team. That's my team. Winglam, I'm sorry, mate, I missed your question. Giles? Who's Giles? Who does he play for? I'd probably do Shaw to Gusto if you don't already have Gusto. And then you could do Pedro for someone a bit more expensive. I would start... it's always an FPL Harry stream. I'm not Harry, but you've already got Gusto. I would start Gusto over Estupinian. It doesn't look like James is fit this week. It won't be for a while. This is my fan team, by the way. Again, I'm just not going to make any transfers. Yes, as Alexandru says, I'm closing in on 2,000 subscribers. If I could hit that on a stream with an audience, that'd be amazing. So if you haven't already and enjoying yourself, please leave a like rating and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. I was Holly last week, and now I'm Harry. So all these people jumping around the streams, copying and pasting their chats. Terrible. But yeah, I'd start Gusto, mate. Big ups, Jim. Thank you very much. Anyone play FPL when this was an option for a team? Daction, I don't mind that, but then it forces you to play four at the back every week. Yeah, João Pedro replacements is really tough. It's really tough. I think the way to get rid of João Pedro really is to use 2 frees to upgrade, to sell someone for someone cheaper and then upgrade, because when you look at the forwards in the game at the moment, I'll tell you what. If you can get to a Awoniyi, I think he's the best replacement for João Pedro. There is also a shout, definitely, to keep him. If I was replacing João Pedro, though, I would look at a Awoniyi. I think that's what I would do. Yeah, I see what you're doing, Wing. How many free transfers do you have? Because like I was saying, I think the way to get rid of Pedro is to bank 2 frees and then use the cash to upgrade him. So, Wing, I know your team sounds like it's in a bit of disarray, but can you get away with one more game week, rack up 2 frees, and then do Pedro to Awoniyi? I know Awoniyi's got Man City next week. That's a very tough game. But he scored at Old Trafford, scored at the Emirates, got a assist against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. I think he's brilliant. And then his fixtures after Man City, pretty good. I really like Awoniyi. Onana versus Turner. My decision, I've gone for Turner, mate. Oh, Frozen FPL. Brilliant. Chilwell, Henry, SC Pinyan, Bulldog, Kabore, 1 free transfer, 1 million in the bank. Yeah, but what's Morris done this season? Yeah, I'd say not so template's correct. I'd just say with Morris, what has he got this season? Who's he scored against and what's his XG been? Because I don't think he's lit the world up at all. Go for it, Ben. He's got some good fixtures, to be fair. One goal, 1 assist. It's not too bad, I guess, is it? Yeah, go on then. Go for Morris, mate. Go Pedro to Morris. You seem to back Morris. The thing is, I don't actually say it's because it's my opinion, but I think the last thing you want me to do is suggest a transfer that's different to Morris. I think the way you're backing him up, you just want someone to say go for it. So go for it. How does draft hound? I don't know, mate. Unfortunately, I don't look at the calculations of a yellow card. I don't really look into those stats. I just look at expected points, goal scoring, and clean sheet odds, basically. And just trust that their algorithms are good. Botman for sure, Raphael. I've got to check Twitter, I think, for Ben to show me his fan team. Winglam, I appreciate you too. Let's see if we got any news. Surely if we wildcard in 10, Son fixtures are better than Saka. Yeah, but is Son better than Saka? Yeah, that's what I agree with not so template. I wouldn't want to push you to go against him if you really believe in him. AFC champions. Go back on draft time. Oh, by the way, I did a live stream with some background music in it a couple of weeks ago. I'd really like to add some because it's just adds to it a little bit, and it give you something to listen to when I'm not talking. Unfortunately, I got a copyright strike. Even though I used non-copyrighted music with the correct licensing, all those tick boxes, YouTube still gave me a copyright strike. So, unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to do music. You got to get the clicks, FPL MFZ, haven't you? There's only one player you can put on your thumbnail this week. I don't really like Son that much, but come on, it's got to be Son, hasn't it? He's the only one you can put on it. There he is. Well, that's what Draft Town says you should play as your starting 11. I largely agree with them. I think if you did Pedro to Morris and then started Morris over Estupinian, I reckon that's the way to go. Football Dian Minuto, I think it depends on the rest of your team. Need a bit more info than that, pal. Should you have a look, see what the deadline stream thumbnails are? I'm going to just have a quick look. Is everyone doing Son, aren't they? Got to do the... So you just got to make the thumbnail that gets the most clicks as a YouTuber, I'm afraid. It's a bit shameless, but it's just the way it works. Oh, 1.99k, that's exciting. Oh, you can see I've been searching myself. Andy's got Son. Tom's got Son. Raptor's got Son. Oh, Harry's got Madison. That's quite interesting. He's got Son. He's got Son. Yeah, that's quite funny, to be fair. Ollie's gone for Darwin Núñez. There you go. Quite funny. Am I a fan of Lego? Not really. Not disrespecting anyone that is. My dad seems to really enjoy it. A couple of presents he's had are like there's adult Lego, isn't there, where you've got like thousands and thousands of pieces and you can build like a car or something that mechanically works. So you can have an engine with pistons that go up and down, a differential that works properly, etc., etc. So for Christmas, my dad got a Lamborghini Huracan. It might have been a special Lamborghini car thing. And then I bought him a Ford GT for Father's Day. So he likes his Lego. Yeah, not so template. It's really odd, isn't it? YouTube Studio need to up their game with the music. If I had the choice, we'd be going B&B all the way. But yeah, I'd just get struck. Crucial info about Son. Interesting. I don't know the news, mate. I'm not FPL, mate. I don't have the crucial news. Unfortunately, this tweet is going to mean that people probably click off this stream and go onto his. So I couldn't blame you if you've got the info. Please, though, because I can't watch his stream at the same time as doing my own, if you get it, please come back to this chat and tell me. Mbumo or Diaby? Tell you what, that's a tough one. Diaby's got a good fixture, but Mbumo is better and obviously has the pens. I reckon you start both, and then there is another player you can get rid of. For me, I prefer the Newcastle defence to the attack, purely because with defence you can largely predict who's going to play, but with their forwards, Isak Wilson going to share minutes, and they've got Gordon, Barnes. They've just got so many forwards. Yes, they've brought defenders likes of Livramento, etc. But you've got to think Trippier plays most games in the Prem, as does Botman and Shah. So personally, I prefer I prefer Botman and Trippier, I would say. He put out a video yesterday saying Son and Saka would be okay to play. Okay. FPL Olympian. Let's have a look. I've got one memory of FPL Olympian. He was asking what he should do for his logo, and he has like the leaves, the garland sort of thing, doesn't he? I suggested he needed the Olympic rings on his logo. Obviously, he's the Olympian, but he didn't do it. The fact that Richarlison will be involved. There you go. I reckon it. Yeah, there's just a risk that Son can play on the left wing, and that makes him less attractive. That's a really good point about Richarlison playing in the centre to draw out the defenders from the low block. I would probably start Estupinian. I don't know if FPL Olympian's watching this, but he asked me to critique his logo. I personally think he should have the Oh, I've clicked on Bruno. I personally think, Olympian, if you're watching this, you need the Olympic rings there instead of that garland, personally. Yeah, I agree with you, Wingland, then. Do it. The last thing I want to do is talk you out of a move you seem pretty set on. So if I can reaffirm that, I will. Ooh, bloody hell. Fantasy Autumn Nations, that is tough, isn't it? What do people think Fantasy Autumn Nations should do there? I am so lost. Like, that is such a headache. I completely see why he's asking that question, but I don't have a sure answer to give him. I think it's really tough. I think I'm just going to wildcard. No, I don't think there'd be any update. Unless I put Son in it, then I think I would go Rashford over Son. Did you send me a DM of it, Ben? Or what? Don't want to show my DMs, really. 2 secs. I just don't want to show everyone my DMs. Not that I have anything private in the DMs, but they're DMs, aren't they? So I'm just not going to show them. There's someone that I need to respond to a second, so I'm just going to do that. Two secs, chaps. There we go. It's a lovely teammate. I don't think I'd be doing much to that. You're on 350 quid already by the looks of it. I wouldn't worry about going different to make changes so far. Fantasy Autumn Nations. I mean, for me, the time to go different is towards the end of the season. I wouldn't bother now. I think you're fine. $21k is absolutely fine. You're the same position as me. I like those moves. Keeping the Canber's fine. I think he'll probably get tackle bonus now. Everyone's sold him. Why are you worried about Kulusevski? He's been a key part to their team. Looked really good value. You could go DRB instead. He's a simple swap. You know, you could easily downgrade someone to get to DRB from Kulusevski. Would I start Kaminsky? Probably would, actually. I probably would. Yeah, I probably would. Jackson's so annoying, isn't he? Sorry, I've just got to check my DM again. Hopefully that helps you, Ben. There's just not lots I would do. I think 3-4-3 is the way to go, though, unfortunately. Best forward till game week 10 under 7 million is probably Morris. Sorry, chaps, just had to send a couple of DMs then. I'm making all my fan teams to have Son captain. If Richarlison's going to be involved, probably not. I just don't think it's worth bringing Son in. Morris is the Luton striker. Although I'd probably say it's Awuni over Morris, but Morris has an extra fixture and probably better fixtures. So, yeah, between Awuni and Morris, I'd say. I've no idea where Brennan Johnson plays. But the manager has literally said he's going to be involved. So, you know, that's what the manager has said. I don't know what more to say, I'm afraid. So maybe Ben, with your Kulusevski pick, Brennan Johnson potentially playing right wing. That could be the one that impacts it, I guess. Yeah. Same with me, Khalid. That's the thing for me. He's only, in my opinion, going to do really, really well when he plays number 9. If I had your team, Fantasy Autumn Nations, I think I'd bench DRB. And then know that he will probably, just because it's sod's law, he will probably outscore someone that you're starting. But Mbumo has looked so good, and he takes the penalty, so he's got so many routes to points, and yeah, he can always score a penalty, whereas DRB, his goals are only going to come from open play. And I think Palace, they'll play relatively deep, which means DRB running in behind is going to be less effective. So that was probably my thinking. Sorry, I just got to go back to the DMs. I'm certainly not sleeping on Madison. He's in my team. Yeah, Dan Hilton. We've already got a bit of news on that one, to be fair. I will pull it up. FPL Olympian has suggested, Ange Postecoglou in his press conference said that Richarlison is going to be involved today, which suggests he probably starts at the number 9 and then Son's on the left. Just my thoughts. God, Twitter is really, really slow for me. My laptop is struggling. I think that'll be very similar Football de Mundo, just because Football de Minuto, I think Alvarez is going to be benched in some games. That's what he's saying about Chilwell. I haven't seen that. Ben, I've not seen his comments. He said that he's going to start at left wing, did he? Wing, very happy to. No problem at all. Bruno or DL? Bruno, mate. Like, the thing is with Bruno versus Diaz, right? Yes, Diaz in one game could outscore him, but Bruno plays 90 minutes. He plays every game. Even when he was injured last season, he still played. He takes penalties, free kicks, and he's the 4th best player in the league for expected goal involvement. Bruno is a fantastic option. And even if I was wildcarding, I would go for him. The RBL Sterling, I'd probably go Sterling. Good cheap forward from week 9 and forward. Awuni or Watkins. Ooh. I might need to go and grab myself another coffee in a second because, yeah, I'm fading a little bit. Need a little break. Our Liverpool forwards fit could be worth I just don't know. I wouldn't go near Liverpool forwards. I'd say so. Football D and Minuto. Just depends. Like you could, if you need to get yourself 0.5 million, you could do that. But I'd just say it's a luxury. Right, I'm going to take 5 just to get another coffee, if that's all right. I've been live for an hour and a quarter now, just talking constantly. Oh, excuse me. So I'm going to go and take a break. What I don't have is a screen to How can I do this? Let's go on my notes. I'll pull up a note. Then you can answer my Sky FF question. Will do, mate. There we go. There could be a note for new people that join. I'll be back in 5 minutes. I'm just going to refill my coffee and have a break. I'm back. Lost a few viewers during that break, but I really needed to take a break then. Any more questions? Wing, sorry, just saying Wing. Ask me a Sky question. Should you change Pickford? It depends how much you got in the bank. Pope and Martinez, I think, are the 2 best goalkeepers going forwards. But if you can't afford them, you could probably go Sanchez as well. Excuse me. You probably go Sanchez as well, to be fair. Jackson to Hoyland after this game week. I don't mind it. I think we need to see Yeah, just need to see how Højlund gets on. I want to see more out of him. Jackson, I know, has not been great, but we've seen that he's getting chances, right? Højlund, I don't think really got a chance. I wouldn't change any of them for Son, mate. I think Son's a bit of a trap, even though he's on the thumbnail for this stream. Chelsea got such good fixtures. If only Jackson could score. Exactly, mate. I think you just trust that Jackson will knock in a few goals. Watch him get a hat-trick against Bournemouth now. No hits this week, mate. Just stick with what you got. Rashford or Sterling to Maddison? Nah. I don't mind it, but I just think over the next 3 weeks, they'll all score very similar points. Yeah, but don't be chasing points. You don't need to chase points with taking hits, etc. You'll be fine. Trust in your team scoring points. What would you say is the reason that you are behind? Is it the fact you've made lots of knee-jerk transfers, or just in general you've been unlucky with your picks? I mean, because if you've made too many knee-jerk transfers and taken hits, etc., suggests you should probably stop doing that. I don't think Mbumo was a troll though. Just saying, if you watch my channel during the preseason, I said he was the best option at his price tag. You listen to Golden Goal and put him in your team. Just saying, mate. Just saying. That was me logging in on my phone. Nothing to worry about. Why would you ever go against Haaland at home to Fulham? That seemed mental to me. Who did that? I'm lost. Am I missing a message? Ah, right, I see. Yes, Alexandru did go against Haaland, you're right. Well, it's Alexandru's team, mate. He do what he wants. Yeah, I'm sorry about your Mbumo pick, mate. Well, mate, if that's all you want to do in FPL is have fun, then absolutely go for it, mate. Because that's what it's all about. I cannot possibly argue with someone if they say that. Like, how can you? That's a perfectly good case for doing it, mate. Yeah, I don't think Chelsea beating Bournemouth is a is a clear-cut thing. But for your team, you don't need Chelsea to beat Bournemouth. You just need Sterling to score. And like across the season so far, can you really say that Son has looked better than Sterling across the 4-game sample size that we've got so far? I mean, I think if anything, Sterling has looked the better player than Son. So if that's the point you're making, I wouldn't worry too much, you know? I agree on Haaland. The thing with Haaland is he performs less well away from home than he does at the Etihad. That's proven. He performs particularly less well when he plays a top team away from home. That's not like groundbreaking, right? You play a good team away from home, you're going to have a tough fixture. West Ham, it's a bit difficult to say exactly how good they're going to be this season. Obviously, they've got off to a really good start, but quite how good are they going to be? Are they going to prove to be come the end of the season? I just think we've got such a small sample size. Yeah, I agree, Ben. I think Maddison is more likely to come off. And with Maddison, he's a bit more injury prone as well. So he is likely to come off early because the manager will want to protect him. I'm back on the streams. How's your day going? Aguero's good to have you in the chat. Wouldn't worry, Aguero. I think that's fine. Keeping Bruno is absolutely fine. It was only 1 week. I think Bruno over the long term is better than Rashford. No, Big Brian's been the man this season. I would go Haaland. Would you start Nicholas Jackson or Mbumo? Oh, man alive. You must have a different decision that you can make. Benching someone else over those two. I think I'd start both of them if I had them. And then there must be someone else in your team you can take out. Can you help with some tips regarding teams playing in Europe, players not to target, and general tips? Thank you. That's a pretty bold. Like, I don't know what to say to that. Really, I mean, just think of it logically. Teams that play in Europe more likely to rotate. If you've got a very close decision on a transfer to make, one of them is a player that plays in Europe, Matoma. One of them, just giving an example. One of them being a player that doesn't play in Europe, and Mbumo. Who's better out of those two? I'd say Mbumo. That's kind of my thoughts. That's as big as I can go on that, really. 2 free transfers, no idea what to do. Currently thinking Saliba to cash. You can check. I wouldn't do Saliba to cash. Wouldn't do Saliba to cash. Saliba's great. He's got Everton away. One of the best fixtures you can get. I didn't say Maddison was going to get subbed early. I just said between him and Haaland, maybe this week he's more likely to be subbed early because he's more injury prone. And I think Postecoglou will want to protect him. Remember, a few weeks ago, he played the week after, but Maddison left the pitch on crutches in a protective boot, and he was fine, but they did it as a precaution, so they're really going to protect him. Back 4 consists of Chilwell, Udogie, Saliba, Diaz. Mid is Saka, Martinelli, Bruno, Rashford. I wouldn't swap any of them. That sounds really good. Should I bench Son, Haaland or Salah? You must be trolling, mate. There are better decisions you can make than that. All of those 3 should be starting for you this week. Marcus, there is someone else you can bench. There's no way that your decision this week is benching one of the 3 best players for the game week. Beezy, good to have you in the chat, pal. I'm doing very well, thank you. Saliba is on my bench. I'd bench Ruben for Saliba personally. I think Ruben Diaz has got a tougher fixture. Foden to Bowen could make sense, but not this week. They both play each other. It just doesn't make sense. Watkins to Jackson saves your transfer, mate. Watkins is a fantastic option. Team leaks. I don't think we've seen any. I don't think we've got any. I'm just scrolling. I've not seen anything. I would start Estupinian. I just think he's better going forward. NCK Footy, good to have you in the chat. Season really has punished knee-jerkers so far. That's why I wouldn't do anything knee-jerk. Aguero wants me to check out his team. Ooh. Obviously, Maddison, Richarlison, Bissouma. No, Bissouma doesn't count. Maddison, Richarlison, Son. That guy is fully trolling, isn't he? Who's the other one? I'm not going to look at the team. I'm just going to name it. Johnson. There you go. There's the 4. Forget that Brennan Johnson plays for Spurs now. I'm sure, Associate, as a Nottingham Forest fan, you're probably quite sad about that. No, Dan, I don't. FPL Aguero's 38th in my mini league wants me to suggest him a team. Yeah, I'd play the exact team you did last week. I would probably start Saliba over Ruben Diaz, just because I think Arsenal are slightly more likely to keep a clean sheet against Everton than Man City are against West Ham. And I think Saliba has... Oh, it's not Gab... Yeah, I just think I start Saliba over Ruben. But other than that, mate, it's a lovely team. Agree, Ben. You're absolutely right. Yes, March was a defender. There were times where I captained Solly March. Oh, no, I think they're very close. Yes, 1 week. 1 week looking, Son is better than Rashford, right? Because Rashford's got Brighton, Son's got Sheffield United. But after that, Son has Liverpool and Arsenal. Rashford has Burnley away, Crystal Palace at home. Like, over the next 3 weeks, I think they're very similar. Or Rashford is slightly better. Did I get hit by a brick on the forehead? Where? Where have I been hit by a brick? By the way, insulting my appearance doesn't impact me at all. So, just saying. I'm just intrigued. What about my forehead makes you think I've been hit by a brick? Looks pretty flat to me. Is it my my laughter lines here? It's quite the comment. Bro, thoughts on Estupinian? No, because Estupinian next week has got a really good fixture. So you're just making a knee-jerky transfer for 1 week if you do that. I mean, then Estupinian's got Bournemouth at home, so nah. Fair enough, associate. Fair enough. The only player I need off, but he is on my bench. I think you should save your free transfer, especially if, because I think the best way to solve the Pedro situation is to downgrade someone else and upgrade Pedro, because the options around his price are not fantastic, albeit Morris is an option. So you could do Pedro to Morris, the Luton striker. Other than that, that's about it. Alexandru doing bits as the mod. Oh, Alexandru, by the way, I don't really care, but I was just intrigued as to why he put that comment in. Or she, of course. Could be a she. As you can tell, I'm very upset. I think I don't have any major issue with Maguire starting for England because he really is good for England. I do think, however, Dunk is now better than Maguire. They both play, you too, Aguero, mate. They both play a very similar position, both have very similar attributes about their game. Victor Frankl, I am asking myself the same question. My transfer this week is going to be Mubama to Archer, by the way. And yes, Maguire gets abuse, don't get me wrong, and it's not good, etc., etc. And we should all say things that, try to stop people abusing Maguire. But the fact that he's starting Maguire and putting him in the limelight to be abused is one thing that Southgate is responsible for. Another one, if you're going to be a footballer playing for Man United in England, regardless of what, it's wrong. I'm not saying abuse is right, but if you're, in Maguire's position, you have to have a thick skin to that kind of abuse. And if you're Maguire's family, I saw his mum put a post out. Unfortunately, doing that kind of thing with the way that the world works only attracts more abuse to you. I know it's a sad reality. It's not a good position. I wish it wasn't the case, but it's only true. It shows that it's making an impact on him. That not talking about it or pretending or proving that it doesn't impact you is the only way to go about it. Then people will just shut up. It's like bullying in school, right? The only way that the bullies win is if people show that it impacts them. Whereas if you can't, I don't know if that's the right thing to say, but that's what I'm trying to think about it. Oh, right. I was staring in a blank space. I was looking at my phone. Sorry, fellas. Sterling or Son? Honestly, I'd argue a case that they're about the same. Having a bit of a headache at the moment. Would you start Henry or Estupinian? Estupinian, mate. I think he offers more going forward. There's not much, in my opinion, there's not much to choose between Newcastle and Man United in terms of how many goals each team will score and how many minus points each defender will get. So then you look at who's got the best attacking upside, and I think that's Estupinian. Nah, mate, I'm just going to use one transfer. Look at I know it sounds cocky, but I think my team is literally perfect. This starting 11, maybe I could change the keeper, but I think it's a bit of a luxury. Mubama to Archer, I think I'm just going to do that. That is a lovely team, JC. The only thing I'd suggest is maybe you could do Pinnock to Botman. I like Pope if you can do that, Wing Lamb. I think Pope is a good option. Zades, I think you might well regret it. Although you can team up with Alexandru, who's also in the chat, because he's doing the same. I would start Matoma and Mbumo, 100%. Just go for the attacking players over the defenders. We've seen barely any clean sheets this season so far, so go for the players that are could score a goal rather than the ones that you'd bank on a clean sheet. I think Bournemouth, they're not one of the weakest teams in the Premier League anymore with the squad that they've got. I think they'll finish mid-table this season. I think Fatty's going to play in João Pedro's position. Wing, good on you, mate. Obviously, don't make a transfer just because I said so. Think about it before you do. Mate, I've never heard of either of those players. Ben, sorry. What are the clean sheet odds for Newcastle? Yeah, we can have a look at that. There you go. Hopefully that helps. Anyone is better than Pickford. That's fair enough. You could probably have someone that doesn't score any points and he'll be better than Pickford, to be fair. I'm banking heavy on Spurs this week. I think this week is fine. They'll do really well. But next week they've got Arsenal. Week after they've got Liverpool. Yeah, I think that's fine. Just bench. As long as you can bench them next week when they play Arsenal, the defenders at least. What's the score with Newcastle? Do they play on Sunday? Yeah. Oh no, they play today. It's up to you, mate. Pope plays today, so now is the time to bring him in if you want to. Don't know what to say, really. Prem predictions this week. I've done my score predictions. Voila. Score predictions are there. Salah to score against Wolves. Watkins to score. Rashford and Bruno to get some returns. Maddison to score. Newcastle Brentford to be a goal. A draw. Chelsea to edge it against Bournemouth. I don't know. What bets could you place, Ben? I'm not advocating gambling on this channel, just helping my friend Ben out. Hey, Johnny. Oh, mate, yeah, but Pickford's got Arsenal. If you want to sell him now. Bowen for me. I think Bowen could well score against it. I know I've predicted it to be 1-0 City. I know. But I think Bowen's more likely to score than Wissa. Sounds weird that with my score predictions, isn't it? I think Bournemouth-Chelsea could be a really close game. I really do. I just have Chelsea edging it because they have better players. I think the quality will shine through just about. Maybe, Ben. A 1E hat-trick. Yeah, probably. He's absolutely fantastic. What do you think about him, associate? Like, where does he rank amongst centre forwards in the Premier League? I think you've got a very, very good player in him. I'm surprised that you kept him. this summer. Like, I know it's only a small sample size of time that he spent playing for you last season, but I've been so impressed by him. He just looks like he ticks all the boxes. Like, he is better than Nicholas Jackson, in my opinion. The new Everton owner, I think, owns other football teams, and they have a terrible record. A really terrible record of owning football clubs. No, I would keep Watkins. Villa fixtures are about to get really good. Totally agree, Spaghetti and Beans. Totally agree with your point, which of course is why I'm starting Gabriel. I would go Awuni. Ooh, this is a good question. I would go Morris and Madison. Ooh. My gut says Morris and Madison, just because Morris has got better fixtures than Awuni. Their stats are not too different. And Morris has got a double game week in 2 weeks' time. So just do that. Awuni's got a good fixture this week, and then he plays Man City. Morris has got a good run. I think I'd just go Morris. And then Madison, I think, is always better than Sterling. Do you think there's any others? No. Why would you sell? I just don't see why someone would want to sell Watkins. I think his fixtures coming up are brilliant. All these teams he plays, right? Don't get me wrong. Chelsea and Brighton are tough, but they can see goals. Brighton, they haven't kept a clean sheet yet this season. Then he's got Wolves, West Ham, Luton, Forest, Fulham, Spurs, Bournemouth. All these teams are capable of conceding goals against him. I think he's fantastic. What's the W4 side men's shorts? Botman probably is the best Newcastle defender, but the thing I'd say with all the Newcastle defence is that you get what you pay for with each of them. So Botman's the cheapest. He'll play every game at 4.5, but he's got pretty terrible underlying data in terms of goals and assists. Shah at 5 million, probably going to play the same number of minutes, but he has much better expected goals. Trippier is obviously by far and away the best going forward, which is why he's the most expensive. So at each price point, you kind of get what you pay for. Botman, so Eddie Howe said he's probably fit for this weekend because he trained in the week. He literally used the word probably going to play. That's what he said. I would do... I'd do Pickford to... I think Pickford and Pedro got to go. Pedro to Morris, Pickford to Leno. Maybe. It's all right for the bone shout. Are any changing goalkeepers? I could well consider it, you know. I could well consider it. Because with Kaminsky, I just don't think you can say who is the best goalkeeper at the moment. I just don't think there's a correct answer to that question. Oh, no, you could do Pickford to Sanchez if you've got... Yeah, Pickford to Sanchez, Pedro to Morris would be the two moves I'd make with that team, Nicola. Do you reckon associate? I don't think so. I think they'll find a way to turn it around. Should I take -4? No. Don't do it. I think Son is a bit of a trap. Especially if he plays on the left wing this week. I think he's a bit of a trap. I'm not going to comment on that one, Ben. So just for context, because someone talked about the Everton ownership, I don't know if I'm looking at a tweet. So they own Hertha Berlin, who are second bottom in the Bundesliga. Standard Liège, obviously one of the biggest clubs in Belgium. They're third bottom of the Belgian league. Vasco da Gama, a famous Brazilian team, who are third bottom in the Brazilian league. They own Sevilla, who are bottom of La Liga. And now they're just taking over Everton, who are 18th in the Premier League. So, yeah, spaghetti and beans, I think it makes sense. I think you go Pope and a cheaper keeper. Like, I know people are, well, Simon Shorts, FPL Associate has provided his opinion on Newcastle. I think that Pope is probably the best goalkeeper in the game because of the fixtures he's got. I think I would go Pope and then a cheaper keeper. Dash back to Burnley. We'll see. Relegated, I'm saying Everton, Luton and Sheffield United. I think Luton and Sheffield United are nailed on to go down. I've got to say, Man City to win the league. Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's a team looking capable of challenging Man City for the title. Arsenal appear to have retracted a little bit from last season. I just don't think they've improved that much. I'm not rolling Unish. I'm going for Archer. I'm going to transfer Mubama out for Archer. The most boring move in human history. But yeah, I can't see another one really. Agree. I think Pope's the best keeper going forwards, mate. I'd do Pickford to Pope if you really want to get rid of Pickford. Maddison or Son? Maddison. I'd feel sorry for the... I don't know. I don't really have much experience in playing Everton with any of my teams, but for me, they're a club with a lot of prestige, very big. It would be a shame to see them get relegated, in my opinion. But, I mean, they deserve to. After all their seasons, getting lucky, basically staying up, in my opinion. You know, I think they're due a relegation. And at the moment, they're the third worst team in the league. I think Luton and Sheffield United are worse. But, yeah, Everton are 18th best team in the league, sorry. Everton will stay up comfortably. Interesting. It's a big prediction from Munish. Wolves and Burnley are worse, maybe even... I don't know. Yeah, what makes you say that? I don't think they are. Wolves should have beaten Man United earlier in the season. I think Burnley are playing really good football. Burnley are playing really good football, but it's obviously not working in the Premier League at the moment. But they've had really tough fixtures. I think Everton are worse. I'd agree with Ben. Not seen enough from Everton so far. I believe in Sean Dyche. I think Sean Dyche is one of the best managers in the league. I've got to say, I really do think he's awesome. I know his tactics are... I think he's unfairly classed as like a traditional 4-4-2 hard man manager, but I think there's a lot more about him than that. That's always been the story with Wolves as well, hasn't it, Associate? Dyche has got it in him. I agree. I agree about Dyche. I think he's a special manager. I just can't believe also that... Because they're still playing... Well, they were. I don't think they are anymore, but they were still playing Michael Keane at centre-back. Michael Keane is one of the worst defenders I've ever seen play in the Premier League in my life. There's no disrespect to, I'm not calling out Michael Keane because I hate Michael Keane. I'm nothing against him, but he's not good enough to play in the Premier League. He makes a mistake every game I've ever seen him play. He was starting for Everton. It's ridiculous. How can he be starting for Everton? Fair enough, Wing. Fair enough, Wing. Sanchez. There you go. There's my reply. Sanchez. Go for Sanchez, mate. It's just safer, isn't it? In my opinion. Lads, I need to nip to the loo very quickly as well. I've been live for an hour and nearly 2 hours. I'll be back in 5 minutes. I just need to go to the loo. Sorry about that, boys, but 2 coffees in the space of 2 hours. Yeah, needed the loo. Would you rather... I wouldn't sell any of them for Son, mate. I think Son's a trap this week. I would bench Colwill, Boo-Boo. He's not going to get any attacking returns, whereas Estupinian probably will. I think Bournemouth are going to score. I've already said Sanchez. Overrated player in fantasy football this week is Heung-min Son. In general, don't think there is one that's overrated, you know. I don't think there isn't. I don't think I can say any that are overrated. Who do you think is overrated? Associate. Anderson from Luton. Is that Elliot Anderson? No, he plays for Newcastle. Who's Anderson? There isn't an Anderson. Oh, the defender. I see. Information. What's his stats like? Oh, he scored 1 goal, mate. Nah. Expected goal involvement per game, 0.1. Nah. Not for me. Maybe during the double, but right now, nah. Have they kept a clean sheet yet? Or no. So in every game they've played, they've conceded 2 or more goals. Not for me, mate. Right, I'm going to do my transfer. Mubama to Archer, just so I don't waste one. Confirm transfers. There we go. Mubama to Archer is done. Doesn't really do anything. And then, yeah, that's my team. I think Sheffield United are at risk of being worse than Luton. Sheffield United, other than Cameron Archer, have signed no one. Well, to be fair, they're both equally as bad as each other. I think both them and Sheffield United could challenge for the worst. But yeah, Derby were terrible as well, weren't they? Oh, 2 secs, lads. Oh, half an hour to go. Any final decisions that people are looking to make? I've done my transfer. Mubama to Archer is done. I will not be doing anything else with my team. Is Bowen overrated? No, I don't think so. I think Bowen is almost underrated. He just doesn't like... I feel the 5 midfielders I have in my FPL team at the moment, maybe Son for this week could be in there. These are the 5 best in the game for their price and value, etc., etc. So there's just no way I can get Bowen in, but I do not think he's overrated at all. If you look at the season he had 2 seasons ago, 10 goals, 10 assists. Last season he didn't do that great, but West Ham in general were not that great until sort of the end of the season. And then he started playing well. I think Bowen is almost underrated, to be completely honest with you. I think he's a fabulous player. Just my thoughts. I wouldn't get anyone out for Son NCK footy. I don't think it's worth it. I'd go Haaland. I would. It looks like Son's going to play on the left wing, so I'd go Haaland. Rashford to Madison done. He done Rashford to Madison. Oh, not sure. He's taken Bowen out, Son in. Interesting. Gone for him as captain. Lovely little shot there of Philadelphia. If Watkins does not return again, what would you do to him? But it's not like he's not returned. I wouldn't lose patience with Watkins. He's looked really, really good. He's returned in 3 of 4 Premier League games. Why would I want to sell him? I think he's going to be fine. I've honestly, Eric Ten Hag, right? He has had a pretty rough time of it, hasn't he? Having to force Ronaldo out of the team, not play Maguire, Sancho, Anthony. I think he's gotten every decision nailed on the head correct. Sancho, it's clear that he's not putting in the effort that Ten Hag wants him to in training. Last season, he allowed Sancho to train privately. Sancho got a lot fitter, then he started playing for Man United. It's appeared he's not been training very hard. What do you do in the situation where a player isn't training? I'd probably say something about them in the media as well, about them not putting in enough effort to try and give him a kick up the bum. And if the player doesn't respond very well to that, then you sort of gives away their character. There was a video I saw of him on Twitter of him. There was a training drill where they had to do press-ups and kick a football, etc. Comparing his press-ups to Bruno Fernandes, I think Sancho did about 2 half-assed press-ups. Bruno Fernandes did 5 or 6. It's just, I think there's a complete difference in attitude. And yeah, I think Ten Hag's completely in the right. Without knowing, obviously, what's going on exactly internally in the club. That's my perception as a fan. Yeah, that's my thoughts. It's a real shame, if Jadon Sancho kept working at the rate that he obviously was at Dortmund, he'd be unbelievable in the England team. So it's completely on Sancho to turn it around, and I'm sure if he did, Eric Ten Hag would give him a fair chance. But it's Sancho's fault, and I think Ten Hag has gotten every decision correct. And maybe the reason that Man City got rid of him was for those reasons. It's very easy, right? You've seen it all throughout professional sports, and I don't pretend to be immune to doing this if it ever happened to me. But, when a player gets their big new contract, signs for their big club, earns millions and millions, that could be the pinnacle of their career. And they could think, well, at this stage, why do I need to keep working as hard as I previously was? You have to be a special human being, in my opinion, once you start earning millions of pounds a year to do your thing, to keep working at the rate that you did to build up to that point, if that makes sense. Prime example was like Conor McGregor in fighting, right? After that Floyd Mayweather fight, he had all the money he could ever need in his entire life, and he sort of fell off a cliff. He's only won 1 fight since that point. Yeah, that'd be my opinion. We also saw it with Tyson Fury as well. Once he won the world title versus Klitschko, he then just became depressed because there was nothing else he had left to achieve. That's kind of where I think Sancho is. I don't think you can relate the Tyson Fury thing quite with Sancho, but hopefully you get the point. I would do Bulldog to Gusto, mate, if you can afford it. I reckon Bellingham would be 7 million. But it's hard to say because yes, it is viable, DS. I would personally play Mbeumo over Jackson. Side men shorts. Yep, I can understand that. Thing is with Bellingham, I thought he was almost like not a deep looking player, but playing a bit deeper than he was. But Real Madrid have basically turned him into a goal scorer. He looks amazing. I'd agree. I just don't know what his position is. I think he'd probably be, if FPL had him, he'd be like 7.5 million. But he'd be worth a bit more than that based on how he's been doing. He's just, I think he's going to be the best English player we've ever seen. I'd go that far to say it. Every attribute about him is unbelievable. He's got the goal-scoring, late run into the box instinct of Frank Lampard. He's literally got the similar ability on the ball as like Zinedine Zidane. His physicality is insane. He's stronger than pretty much everyone he goes up against. He's tall. He's pretty quick. He's got such a good head on him. Like, he's so sensible. Everything he says is like, yes, everything he says is absolutely immaculate. He doesn't get in trouble. He's only 20. Like, he could be the best English player we've ever seen. He's going to be England captain when Harry Kane goes, for sure. I don't think Man United's the problem, mate. Well, it sort of is the problem for how much money they offer their players and like the firing line you go in when you play for them. But you just have to play for Man United, you have to work extremely hard, not be like distracted by money, and be prepared to take pelters when you don't play well, because that's what happens there. Turner, in my opinion, I think Forest are a better team. You need to sack 70% of the team. No, well, we'll see on that. Who would you rather play? Gabriel, Chilwell, Estupinian, Guardiola. Get rid of one, go to a Doji. Oh, I don't like Guardiola. Although all of them this week are okay. After this week, I'd consider getting rid of Gabriel. Big ups, Barmy Army. Hello, mate. I would play this week Gabriel, Chilwell, Udoji. That's who I'd play this week. I wouldn't play Guardiola because I feel like Gabriel's got more chance of keeping a clean sheet and scoring a goal than Guardiola does. Just my opinion. You don't have to agree with me. Gabriel Brace is coming. How's my team looking? Oh yeah, you've just joined Barmy Army. You're very welcome, of course. I'm just going to check if there are any leaked lineups. And then I'll show you my team. I've already done my transfer. We've got 15 minutes left to go. I'm not going to do anything else to my team. I'll show you it in a second. In fact, while Twitter sorts itself out, I'll show you it now. Here we are. That's how I'm lining up. I'm very happy. Doing all right. 275 points, 118k rank. I'm very happy. I can't complain. Yeah, Reece James, Pochettino said he hopes that he is back before the next international break. So that is definitely suggesting that Gusto is going to play this week. Well, he's already confirmed that Reece James is out this week. So if you are scared for Gusto not playing, I wouldn't be. I think he's going to play. No leaked lineups or anything, unfortunately. Yeah, there you go, on FPL, MCFC, FPL Main Road. This is the Man City leaker. That's what he's got to say. Mr. Blanky, good to have you, mate. Good to see you. Hope you had a nice international break. Well, we've just seen MCFC saying Guardiola might not play. It just depends who you would be starting him for. I need to know that to tell you what I think. I still look at teams in draft time, Barmy Army. Tell me your FPL ID or team name and I will do it. I would not sell Saka to Son, BZ. I think Saka's great. He's got Everton away. One of the best fixtures you can ask for. I would not be selling him for Son. I think that's a knee-jerk luxury move that you shouldn't make. Saka's got penalties too. We know that. I would not sell him. Nope, wouldn't do Bruno. I wouldn't do Bruno either. I would just leave it, personally. Brick Hill United for associate. Right. Just because Barmy Army asked for it first, associate, I'm going to look at him. Please don't be offended. I will look at yours straight after. 562 105. I would start Gabriel over Henry. João Pedro could go to Morris. I quite like Morris with the double coming up. And then I'd start him over Estupinian. Turner, Johnston, flip a coin on those two. I don't really know who's best. The rest of the team is absolutely lovely. Quick summary of yours there. Quick look at Brickhill United. That's you, isn't it? Got Sterling in the previous game week, thinking of selling him from Madison already. Nah. Probably a bit luxury. Lovely team, Brickhill. Leno over Flecken, you probably already done that. Share over Henry, probably already done that. And I'll go Awuni over Bowen. And then that team is lovely. No, I wouldn't. Oh, what was your team? 562 105. I think I spoke about your team already, didn't I? What did I say? Did I say you should do a transfer? Yeah, João Pedro to Morris would be the transfer I'd recommend. Just because he's got a double in 7, nice fixtures. Don't know why Watkins, the player's in the top left there. There we go. All fixed. Cammy Archer in. I've done the same, pal. There we go. Cammy Archer is in. He's third on my bench as well. I just don't know how I can improve this team, so I'm quite happy with it. Quite happy with it. Hala Madrid FPL. Yes, mate. No worries, Barmy Army. I would start Guardiola over Baldock. But other than that, mate, lovely team. (50-50) between Johnson and Turner for me. Don't think you need to make a transfer, to be honest. I'd say over the next 4 weeks, even though I've bigged up Awuni, I think Morris is better because he has better fixtures and a double. I also like Watkins. And I like Awuni. I think Morris is probably the best, though, just for the fixtures. Associate, big ups, mate. Thank you so much for joining, as always. Magic Martinelli FC. Of course I can. I'd start Estupinian. Which one are you, mate? There's 2. I'm just so unsure on Luton, so am I, mate. But Morris has got a goal and an assist in 3 games. Pretty good. Top 1. No worries, mate. I'd start Turner over Onana. I'd start Udoji over Akanji, just because I'm not sure if Akanji will play. And I'd leave the team as it is. I think that's a lovely team. Lovely team. Just the goalkeeper and Udoji over Akanji. That would be the changes I'd make. Alvarez is an option, but how nailed is he? That's the question. Always the question with Alvarez. Just not bragging or saying anything, but I'm currently 118k. I personally haven't gone anywhere near Foden or Alvarez. I would go Watkins. I just don't like those Man City mid/strikers other than Haaland. They're just too risky. They're just too risky. You were starting Udoji over Estupinian. The only reason I say over Akanji, because I'm not 100% sure Akanji plays, whereas I'm 100% sure Estupinian does. Isak, just not sure he plays enough minutes. Bruno to Salah feels like a luxury. I think Bruno and Salah will end up on very similar points. It's never too late to jump on Mbumo. It might not be the week to do it with Newcastle away, but the fixtures after that are absolutely fantastic. Well, fantastic-ish. So it's definitely not too late to jump on him. I think he's fantastic. When you look at 7 million in below mids, I'd put in Bruno at the top. So no, I don't think it's too late. Have you got the top expected points for strikers? There you go. 7 minutes to go. Helping you out even at the bitter end. Who said that? 5 men shorts. He said that Richarlison will be involved. That was the quote from the press conference. Is there a leaker that said that, is there? I prefer Udoji. Ah, right, okay, fair enough. That's FPL mates thing, is it? Son's probably a decent option as captain then in that case. Jesus, I think Nketiah's been playing well enough for Arsenal that he will... There's a good chance he will play over Jesus this week. I really do think that. Sorry to burst your bubble. Thanks for that info, Sidemen Shorts. Doesn't really impact me too much, though. Udoji or Romero? I said Udoji, mate. Udoji's better. Darwin? Nah, just not a guarantee for minutes. Not guaranteed enough minutes for me. Hope you good. Should I take Bruno out for Son? And then, no. Just leave it. Just leave it. Don't do anything knee-jerk. Just leave it. Son's got Arsenal and Liverpool after this game week. Not worth it. Bro made his chat wait so long for that. He's good. He's a good marketer. That's all I'm going to say. You're welcome, Matthew. You got to keep the viewers on the stream, haven't you? I don't do that kind of thing. It's not my... Well, it might be my style if I had that kind of info, but I don't. So I can't really come to conclusions. I have no idea on that one, Alexandru. I would personally favour Estupinian. I don't think Chelsea are going to keep a clean sheet. I don't think Chelsea are going to keep a clean sheet. But if you think they will, then that's up to you, isn't it? It's your team. I just think, if you're talking about having fun, surely Estupinian's more fun than Colwill. Boring old Colwill, all he's going to do is keep a clean sheet. Estupinian could score and get assists and all sorts. Foden 2 and Boomo next. Oh, next week. Yeah, you could do that. We're nearly there. I'm glad because I'm getting knackered. He's done Fernandez to Son. That's interesting. Selling Fernandez, man. I just wouldn't do it. I would not do it. You watch Fernandez get a penalty today. A penalty and assist. That's what Fernandez is going to do this week, I reckon. Well, you can see Chris Gray on my team, what I'm doing on that. It's the last week that Turner is going to start in my team, I reckon. But I feel like you simply have to go for him over Onana. He's got a better fixture, more likely to keep a clean sheet, blah, 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 blah. Villa fixtures are very decent. That's what they're like. I mean, look at that. Very, very good. They don't play a top side until December. Cheese on toast. I feel like crackers and cheese is a snack. Cheese on toast is a meal. Here you go. Watkins has not been poor. I don't know how anyone can tell me a man with 3 assists in 4 games has been poor. Not having that. He's been great. He's been good enough. Good enough is my ad, so I wouldn't be selling him. 3 assists in 4 games, mate. That's not poor. I think it's a misnomer that he's been poor, in my opinion. I think he's been fine. No goals and no pens, yeah, but he's got 3 assists. I think he's fine. See you next week, associate. That's just my opinion, of course, Barmy Army. Usually, if you don't know what to do, the correct answer is do nothing. I think you had João Pedro. I would do Pedro to Morris. That'd be my thoughts. Alexandru, I might. It depends if I can get to him. The thing is with Pope, though, is my keeper who will play is Onana, who has Burnley away. So I don't think it's the right time to do it. I think I'm going to hold on to my team as it is and then wildcard in 8 or 9. Good luck, everyone. Mr. Blanky, I would play Estupinian. Simon Shorts, good luck, mate. Matthew, good luck, mate. I think Alexandra are going to wait till wildcard. I can't justify it. And I don't have enough cash. Looks like you're doing nothing. Fair enough, Barmy Army. Do nothing if you're not sure. That would be my thoughts. And then you can do some more next week. All right, everyone. The deadline is about to hit. It's been a pleasure, as always. If you enjoyed the stream, like I said, I'm closing in on 2,000 subscribers. Haven't been able to check it since I've been on stream. But if you haven't already, please subscribe. It'd be amazing to get to 2,000 subscribers this weekend. I'm very grateful for everyone for joining the stream. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed doing these. I'm not going to stop anytime soon. No one's asked me any more questions. Very good stream. Thank you, Victor. Oh, I'm glad to have you here. It was very good to have you here. And I will catch you all next week. I'll just let the deadline pass at 11 and then I'll shoot off. Anselus, big ups, mate. Thank you so much. 1,993 is the current subscriber count. So yeah, thank you everyone for your support. Good luck for the game week. May your arrows be green. I will have a video out on Sunday morning with some recommended transfers, players to buy and avoid, as I always do. I'd appreciate if you can check that out. Good luck, everyone. Been a pleasure.